Hello and welcome. I'm SlimMonster the Witch, aka Colton Cass, and welcome back to another episode of Lesser Known Celebrities Who Were Murdered. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Want to apologize for last week. I wasn't able to stream on Twitch. Um, some with OBS went down, so I got a brand new OBS. And I got Streamlabs. Shout out to them because they the real OGs. I started messing around and I got it streaming on everything, so this saves me tons of time with editing, yada 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 yada. So that's great to hear. And I'm going to be working on some new stuff here shortly, so make sure to peer around the corners for that. But today's celebrity was one that was murdered from the country of Colombia, and he hails from the country of Colombia, a famous footballer by the name of Andres Escobar. Kind of those disposable nicotine things, kind of like those, Escobars. I don't know if you have them, but we have them here. They're really big. Anyways, however, after the incident in 1994 FIFA World Cup, it left the legendary footballer dead. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Andres Escobar was honestly a good dude who just made a mistake, and an unforgiving fan base struck out. Now, Andres Escobar, with the name of the gentleman by his soccer team, was born in Medellin, Colombia. Sorry for all my butchering of the Latin language. I am horrible. On March 13th of 1967. I wasn't able to find anything about his mother, but his father was named Dario Escobar. I know he had a brother named Santiago Escobar. His father, Dario, was a well-known banker who funded an organization that gives young people the opportunity to play soccer, football, instead of being on the streets. And his brother was a former footballer who played alongside his own brother. After his brother's death, Santiago would become the manager of the team in 1998. Andres was engaged to a girlfriend of 5 years, a dentist named by the name of Pamela Cascardo. They would have been married later that year in 1994. Andres played with a defender with the number 2 on his jersey for the whole duration of his playing soccer. The club called him, the full nickname that they gave him was El Caballero del Futbol, which essentially means the gentleman of football. And the immortal number 2 the club he played for was Atletico Nacional. Prior to 1994 World Cup, he was offered a contract with Italy on AC Milan. His first debut game was on March 30th of 1998, the Colombian team beat Canada 3-0. That same year, they went internationally to the Rouse Cup, where a draw happened 1-1 against England. In 1990, they made it to the FIFA World Cup, but they made it to the finals before losing to Cameroon, which I believe is an African team. Escobar was called up to the 1991 Copa America squad, where he made 7 appearances. He did not participate in any games of the 1994 FIFA World Cup qualification, but he was called up for the World Cup for his team. Now, Escobar's goal that he scored himself. Oh, see, I got 2 of them mixed up here. I knew it was one of them is supposed to be this one here. That didn't work. Anyways, there's supposed to be the logo there, but anyways, Escobar's goal that he scored on himself occurred in Colombia's second group match against the United States during the 1994 FIFA World Cup, which I actually think this is the scenario that it happened in. I think that's an American player. If you look behind him, it looks kind of like an American player. But during the 1994 FIFA World Cup, stretching the block across from American midfielder John Harkes, he inadvertently deflected the ball on his own net. The United States took a 1-0 lead and ended up winning 2-1. Go America, but at the same time, sorry. After the loss, Escobar decided to return to Colombia instead of visiting his relatives in Las Vegas, Nevada, on the evening of July 1st, 1994. 5 days after the elimination of Colombia in the World Cup, Escobar called his friends. They went out to the bar, El Pablo neighborhood in Medellin. They went to a liquor store shortly after they arrived at a nightclub called El Indio. His friends split up approximately about 3 o'clock the next morning. Escobar was alone in the parking lot of El Indio in his cars, where 3 men appeared. They began arguing with him. 2 of the men took out handguns. Escobar was shot 6 times with a 38 caliber pistol. It was reported that the killer shouted "goal" after every shot, like goal. Um, the group then drove away in a Toyota pickup, leaving Escobar to bleed to death. Escobar was taken to the hospital, where he died 45 minutes later. Now, the murder was widely believed as punishment for his own goal, but the UK had issued something like that. BBC did later issue an apology after finding out that it was just a bunch of malarkey. That the statement was that Argentina's defender wants shooting for a mistake like that. The day after his murder, Escobar, more than 120 people attended Escobar's funeral. Every year, people honor Escobar by bringing photographs of him to matches. On July 2002, the city of Medellin unveiled a statue in honor of his memory. Now, let's talk about the killer. Humberto Castro Munez, a drug cartel bodyguard in Colombia, was arrested on the night of July 2nd, 1994, confessing the very next day to killing Escobar. Castro also worked as a delivery driver for Santiago Galon, who had allegedly lost heavily betting on the outcomes of the game. He was found guilty of Escobar's murder on June 1995. He was sentenced 43 years in prison. The sentence was later reduced to 26 years because of submitting to the rulings. Escobar worked really hard, to give a good name for Colombia, and this would essentially tarnish that. He would work hard to promote this change of Colombia, earning acclaim with the country even for doing it. He still held high in high regards from Colombian fans, and especially mourned and remembered by the Atlético Nacional fans. A newspaper column published shortly before his killing didn't know he was going to die. He said that Colombia's World Cup, it's been a most amazing and rare experience. We'll see each other again soon because it does not end here. Fortunately, it did. After Escobar's death, his family founded Andres Escobar Project to help disadvantaged children learn to play football. And in 2010, a documentary film entitled The Two Escobars was released as an ESPN's 30 for 30 documentary series. It was directed by Jeff and Michael Zimbalist, which looked back on the Andres Escobar's death, Colombia's 1994 World Cup, the relationship between association football and the country's criminal gangs, and notably the Medellin cartel run by Pablo Escobar, unrelated to Andres. There is also a Malaysian movie made in 2019 that was made in honor of the player. It's not related to him at all. It's just kind of about him. Just not his life. It's just him. I don't know how to describe it. And it's pretty sad to see how a sports star who happened to just make an accidental goal on himself resulted in just a tragic loss where actually a whole nation can mourn. But I appreciate you guys checking out my videos. I'm hoping to get some more content out here next Tuesday. If worse comes to worse, at least me playing some video games, I got it all working out, so I'm going to try to be doing that. I am working on a little project currently with Astral Workshop, a.k.a. Rob Carter, who I've done loaded magic zines with, another project I do on the side every now and then. But we're working on a little collab, but the weather is permitting. It is pretty windy out there, and I don't want to get my drone up, so sorry. Also, I will be talking about some new forms of divinations, just stuff like that, and kind of the psychology about that. That's kind of the newer project I'm working on. So we're just kind of making a little video to get that going. I'm also getting closer to moving across the United States, so my content might decrease a little bit temporarily. When I arrive to my new home, though, I will be cranking out content. I'll have somebody to help me. I'll be met up with the Foco Shinobi, Josh, who I also do loaded magic zines with. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'll just give you guys my plugs here real quick. You guys can catch me every Tuesday. I make something. You guys can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Colt_of_the_occult. You can catch me at Facebook at Colton Cast Makes Art. You can catch me at YouTube at SlimMonster the Witch and twitch.tv/SlimMonster_.